an assistant professor at Harvard Business School and author of the article Emotion and the Art of Negotiation. So what are all the emotions that can help or hurt us in negotiations?
There are a number of emotions that can profoundly influence how people negotiate: anxiety, anger, excitement, happiness, disappointment, and regret. When people feel anxious, they tend to negotiate poorly. They tend to exit earlier and make steep concessions, which leads to poor negotiation outcomes. Anger is like a weapon. You should wield it very carefully. Injecting anger into a negotiation is like dropping a bomb in the process.
But don't a lot of negotiators use anger as a tool?
Absolutely. So a lot of inexperienced negotiators think that feeling angry will be an advantage to them in the negotiation, and that expressing anger is a form of intimidation that's going to help them get concessions out of their counterpart. On the other hand, experienced negotiators actually know that oftentimes framing the negotiation cooperatively as an opportunity to find joint gains for both sides is actually a better way to go. So expressing anger can extract concessions from a counterpart, but it's likely to harm the long-term relationship. If you are negotiating one time with a stranger, like you're negotiating for a new car, then expressing anger might help you get a better price on the car. But if you're negotiating with a business partner in a relationship that you really care about, then expressing anger may not be the optimal strategy.
What about controlling your own emotions? I think of emotions as something that are really difficult for myself to control. So how do you advise people to temper their own anxiety, their own anger?
Most people feel anxious before they negotiate. This is a very normal feeling. And something that I recommend is practice. Practice, practice, practice. Rehearsing, preparing, and practicing your negotiation tactics and strategies and plan ahead of time can be very, very comforting and make you feel more confident. Another thing that can help anxious negotiators is bringing in a third party, someone to negotiate on your behalf. And this might feel like a cop-out, but it's actually a really smart strategy. A third-party negotiator is likely to feel a lot less anxious negotiating on behalf of someone else. When it comes to anger, there are a number of things you can do. One thing you can do is just take a step away from the negotiation table. Take some time to cool off and take a break. Another thing that you can do is reframe your oppositional anger as shared sadness. So I'm not angry at you over what we're negotiating over. I'm sad that we're both having to cope with this difficult situation together.
You also talk about the emotions that people feel at the end of negotiations. You know, excitement on one side because you've gotten a great deal, disappointment on the other because you haven't. So when the deal is the deal, and some people are disappointed and some people are happy, how do you manage that?
A brilliant strategy you can use called the post-settlement settlement. So after you've come to an agreement and everybody has signed their name on the dotted line and everybody's happy with it, you kind of set that agreement to the side and magically the mood in the room will change. Everybody becomes more comfortable, the tension is cut, and it's at that point that you might suggest saying, okay, we've got this deal, but what else? Is there anything else we can do that would be jointly beneficial for everyone involved? And it's in those post-settlement moments that sometimes the most creative, mutually beneficial agreements can be discovered. Also, if you have done great in the negotiation, keep that excitement to yourself and maybe celebrate later, because celebrating in the moment and expressing that excitement will make your counterpart feel like they lost out. And you want to make them feel really good about the deal too.